Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Afi and I'm back again with another video. This video is going to be one that I don't know what I'm going to title it, but it's basically just about prayer, right? And it's about the structure of prayer, and it's about how we're supposed to pray and all that jazz. So I hope you enjoyed this video. The reason why I felt like I needed to do this video is because I have mentioned this in a couple of videos, and this video is going to come out, but I did a song inspiration of a song called Broken Prayers, and in that song it's basically just sending the message that like prayer doesn't have to be this structured thing, it doesn't have to be this perfect thing, it doesn't have to be this thing that seems so unattainable when we are imperfect, it doesn't have to be this thing that we have to feel like we need to acquire the privilege to pray, and that's basically the message of that song Broken Prayers, right? And I think actually I'm gonna do this video, post this video, and then put Broken Prayers as the next video that comes up, just so that they're sort of like in line, so that it's like at the same time, because I think the messages are very like, they're sort of contradicting, right? The messages are very contradictory, but I would like to say that even though they're contradictory, they're both correct, just because our life is not like this thing that is like structured like this. And because of that, there are times when it's easier to pray with a structure, and more than that, even like we're feeling it, and we're like, yes, let's take 30 minutes to pray, and in that whole thing, then you can do the structure and blah blah blah. And then there are times when you're feeling so freaking broken that you can't muster up the energy, the will, the even like the positivity to be able to stick to this structure, right? And because of that, a song like Broken Prayers is so necessary, because it reminds you that you don't have to acquire the privilege to pray, right? Praying is communication with God, and so because it's communication with God, who better to tell your problems than God? I think that's the point of the message of that song, and I highly recommend that you watch that song inspiration. It will be coming next, so watch out for that. But yeah, so that's basically what the song is about. It's about the structure of prayer, it's about the perfection of it, the instructions that we're given about prayer, like what are we supposed to do. And I think also this video helps so much with people who are initially struggling to pray, like not even because you're broken or anything like that, just because you haven't prayed for a while and you're like, where do I start? Where am I supposed to go from here? Like, how do I even begin a relationship with God? Like, where do I go? I think this video is perfect for that. So if you know anyone who's struggling with prayer and stuff like that, I highly recommend you share it, because I think the way I've planned it out, I feel as if it's gonna have a lot of like good insight, and I hope that translates as well and that it helps somebody. So that is enough of an intro. So we're just gonna begin, and I want to preface it by saying that the idea of this came from a Bible plan that I'm doing. I've mentioned this before. I'm doing Bible plan in 1 year by Nicky Gamble, I think that's his name. And there's like like a little section usually for his wife Pipa, and so that's basically where this idea came from. And first of all, I think it comes from day 61. Again, I'm very, very behind on this, honestly. I'm 20 days behind, okay? But it was day 61, just in case you're wondering. And if any of you are doing this Bible plan, please like comment down below, because I really love this Bible plan. I feel like it's just, I don't know. Anyway, fine. So day 61, the topic is a loving, ongoing relationship. And the point is having like an ongoing relationship with God. And I'm just gonna keep going. And there's a topic that is called develop a pattern of prayer. And this topic is basically, now this is where it includes like the structure of prayer, and it talks about it's like how it's helpful to follow a pattern, just like the Lord's Prayer. Jesus is the one who instructed the Lord's Prayer, and he said, and what's the Lord's Prayer? Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thy is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. So that's the Lord's Prayer, and that's how I've said it my whole life. I don't know if you guys add that end part that I did, or you don't. Comment down below whether you add it or not. I think I've said it with it, and I've said it without it as well in different places, so I don't know how it works. Anyway, the point of the Lord's Prayer, as much as like, yes, you could pray it exactly as it is, I think the point of it is to also teach you like the structure of it. And it says, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. So that's like giving God glory, right? Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Basically, like, give us this. And forgive us our trespasses. So you ask for forgiveness as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, and deliver us from evil. And I think that's such a good structure if you think about it, like just that thing of like giving God glory, asking for forgiveness, asking for what you want, saying what you're going to do, just that thing. I think it's such a good structure, and I think that's why the Lord's Prayer is so important. And then another pattern that is now focused on in this day is acts. The mnemonic. The mnemonic is acts, right? And so acts stands for adoration, confession, thanks, and supplication. So and I think that sort of takes on the same structure as the Lord's Prayer. It's really not that different. And I feel like also even for us, as unificationists, we have also been instructed to pray like the same way. It's the exact same, like every single time I see like an instruction about prayer, I've seen that it's the same kind of structure. Like it's always just like, give God the glory, ask for forgiveness, say what you're going to do, ask for what you want, and then amen. So anyway, as we continue here, adoration, you basically say, Lord, I adore you. And this was basically an example from, I think, Psalms, from King David. And then so you say, God, I adore you for doing this, I adore you for just being you, I adore you, blah blah blah. And then confess, right? Confess. I confess, hear my cry for mercy, I did this, forgive us our sins as we forgive those who trespass against us. That whole idea. And then T, giving thanks. Thank you for life, thank you for good health, thank you for a good family, thank you for the fact that I can wake up today, thank you for the fact that I am able to talk. I feel like some of these things are so underrated. Thank you for the fact that I can see, thank you for the fact that like I have a family, I have siblings, I have parents that love me and I love them. Thank you for that kind of thing. And then S is supplication, which is where it's like, God, I'm trying to do this and I need a breakthrough. God, this is what's happening in my life and I need you to help me. I need you to direct me. I'm praying that you can help me in this decision and things like that. And that's basically on like the structure of prayer. I hope that helped. So the next thing that we're going to go into is pray in faith. And the thing about praying in faith is something here that has been said is we cannot earn the right to a relationship with God. It is a gift to be received by faith. And I think that's, what I think. A lot of times when I feel like people are always looking for like, I need to go through this bad thing so that I can be able to pray to God so that He can deliver me, so that I can believe in Him. But the point of faith is believing when there is nothing to believe in, like even when you can't see anything physically. That's where faith comes in so strongly. And so I just like the fact that has been mentioned. Excuse me. So the importance is it's important to have faith in God. And something that I wrote down is, yes, so the whole idea that like Jesus lack of forgiveness can be a Jesus said sorry lack of forgiveness what I can't speak. Jesus said lack of forgiveness can be a barrier to prayer and to your relationship with God. And the reason why I felt as if this was so important to mention is because I feel as if for myself, I've seen that actually happening in the past few months. I was very bitter and angry and upset, and I've mentioned this to one of my friends actually. I don't like to talk about it a lot because I don't like having negativity. I'm the kind of person who's like, when I feel like I'm gonna get upset at someone, I'm like, let me move on. I don't wanna be in that space, blah blah blah. So I I felt as if I was just in this place of like anger and bitterness and stuff like that, and it genuinely hindered me from having a relationship with God. And I remember the moment that I was just like, I'm done being angry. I am done holding on to just that anger and bitterness and feeling of like betrayal and whatever it is that whatever they did like made me feel. I'm done feeling that. And the moment that I was able to just let go of that, I noticed that I easily sort of like fell into this cycle of like going back to my devotion. Guess I hadn't done my devotion for like honestly almost 20 days, and that really broke my heart. And it was just that idea of like holding on to this anger, and it was making me so black, and it was making me so just whew, did not like it. My gosh, remind me the next time I'm angry to forget, you know, because like it really is like a hindrance to your it's a barrier to your prayer, but it's a barrier to your relationship with God, because in that moment you're so angry you don't even know what to tell God, you know. It's just a bad place to be. And Jesus also says there's no limit to forgiveness. You know, the whole idea of like forgive 70 times 70, 70 times 7 times, that whole idea, like there's no limit to it. And I think it's something that I'm learning, and I'm definitely in the process of it, because let me tell you, people can really upset you, and for things that like in your head you're just thinking this is common sense, like don't be dumb, you know, but like either way everyone is different. And so I'm really genuinely learning to forgive. And you know what's interesting is I feel like when I was younger I used to be more aggressive. Like if someone annoys me, then I would be like, you know, that really upset me, and blah blah. Like I would show it, I would tell it, I would, you know, I was always out there with it. Whereas these days I find that I'm more reserved about it. More like I feel as if it's like maybe as I was doing that in the past, I noticed that you weren't listening and it was wasting my energy. And so I flipped to the other side and became like, I'm not even going to tell you when I'm upset anymore. I'm over it. I'm going to harbor it into my brain. So it will just be there and I will be angry and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, I hate being passive aggressive. I hate being angry. I hate that negativity. And so I'm just learning how to not hold on to that anger. I want to start writing like letters. Like if I'm angry at someone, I want to start writing letters to them. Of course, I don't have to give it to them, because sometimes, let me tell you something, you know the people around you, you know who will listen to you and who won't listen to you, and there's some people who are stuck on you. So because they're stuck on you, you have to have them in your life forever, and that's okay. I just think sometimes you trying to communicate some things, like they're not listening, and if they're not listening, you're getting even more frustrated. So just learning, the thing that I'm learning now is like to forgive, and to forgive not because I've been asked for forgiveness, but because I need to for myself. Oh my god, the concept of forgiveness for myself is something I'm learning. It's literally for yourself, it's not for the other person. Like it's nice to think that, oh, they have to ask me for forgiveness, they have to know that they've done something wrong, they have to feel like this, blah blah blah. But my friend, you will be stuck there waiting for them to feel like that. You will be stuck, and you're the one who's going to be angry and they're not going to feel anything. So I'm learning how to forgive even if I haven't been asked for forgiveness. I'm learning how to forgive even though it's really upsetting me, even if it's something that I feel as if is an injustice. I'm learning to forgive. And it's helped me a lot in my prayer, the whole idea of like forgiveness and moving on and stuff like that. It's really helped me in my like life of faith. And so I highly recommend that. then there's a statement that says the first to apologize is the bravest. And I will not sit here and claim that I'm good at apologies. Honestly, I don't even think I apologize at all, and I guess that's something I definitely need to work on. But yeah, I like that whole concept of like the first person to apologize, the first person to want to move forward is the bravest person, because I think more often than not we like to make mistakes and then not apologize and then move forward, just move forward like we didn't do anything. And I guess that's what I had been battling with a lot, those kind of people who want to move forward without an apology. They want to move forward without taking responsibility, and that's okay. But I think for myself, I just need to learn how to apologize, and how to, when someone communicates that I have offended them, I need to learn how to be like, I'm so sorry that is something that I did. I'm going to do better, and not to explain myself and be like, this was my thought process. It's just to be like, I'm sorry that I did that, and I won't do it again. I think that's an important trait. And there's another statement that says the first to forgive is the strongest. And that strength is what I'm trying to build in myself. Hopefully, in a few years, I will be great at that. I'm not going to sit here and say, like, I'm going to learn how to forgive somebody in 1 month. That's not going to happen. I think sometimes you think that you've forgiven, and then something happens, and you realize that you've been holding on to that anger, and it's just been building in you. So I think it's like constant work, and I guess that's just where I'm at right now in my life. So something that was brought in this whole thing is the parable of the fig tree. And the parable of the fig tree, for those who don't know, is in Mark. It's in the Gospels, and it's about this tree that basically bears no fruit. And it's the whole idea that, like, when you are like, if we I'm not bringing it into actual life, it's like when, like, you read the Bible, you pray, you go to church, but then you don't do any service, and you don't do any, like you're not trying to do anything for anyone else, so all you're doing is like for yourself. So it's that whole idea of the fig tree, like you bear no fruit. It's almost like, actually, in the past, I think it was in the blessing festival, where someone gave a speech, and I can't remember who it was, but I have a memory of them talking about, like, being was it True Mother? I can't really remember if it was True Mother who spoke, but it's the idea of, like, you being like a river that flows, and the only way you can flow is if you are giving of yourself. You can't flow if you're just like stagnant, and that's the whole idea. I think it was True Mother who talked about, like, that's what our responsibility is, to flow and to give of ourselves, and to teach people, and to that whole idea of like serving as a way for your growth. Because if you don't serve, then you're stagnant, like a swamp. Is it a swamp? Yeah, like a swamp. Or like the Dead Sea, which has like a lot of like rivers coming in but has no outlet. Yeah, that whole idea. So I guess that's where I want to sort of end it, but I want to end it with verses. So it's in Mark chapter 11, verse 24 to 25, which says, "Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours." Verse 25 goes on to say, "And when you stand praying, if you hold anything against anyone, forgive them, so that your Father in heaven may forgive you your sins." And that's just how. So that's basically how I'm gonna end this video. Just the first verse is basically like, you have to believe that you've received it and it will be yours. And I think I've read a speech from True Father as well, who said the exact same thing. Like, when you pray, you need to pray. When you're praying for something, you pray as if it's already happened. Like you're living it basically, and so it'll happen for you. That's basically how you're supposed to be praying. And I think for me, I'm sort of like learning that concept. I'm also just like in the process of that. I'm just remembering that when you pray, you need to believe that you've already received what you've prayed for. Like, it's not like you're saying, "Oh, I want this," and then you sit back and say, "Okay, I've prayed about it, now let me sit down." Like, for example, if you're praying for good grades, let's just use that, because I'm in school, it's the easiest thing. When you're praying for good grades, right, you pray that, oh God, please, like, can I get these good grades, blah blah blah, but you need to study, and you need to put in the work, and you need to listen in class, do your assignments, study and study, so that even as you've prayed for this thing, literally you're making an effort to get there. And more than that, you've believed. You're like, this is it, it's gonna happen, I'm gonna pass, we're good. So I think that's a good way of looking at it. Or even just because I'm like in the middle of this whole thing, but like, even when you're like looking for a husband, let's see, when you can't just be like, okay God, I really want a husband, and then you sit in your house and that's it. I mean, granted, we're in quarantine, like we're currently like experiencing a lockdown, so I'm not gonna like, but I think there's very many different ways for you to be able to find a partner. And of course, none of them is just sitting back at home and watching a movie, I don't think. So yeah, my point is just be proactive about your life. Remember that when you pray, you need to believe that you've already received it and it will be yours. And remember that when you stand in prayer, don't and you're holding something against anyone, you need to forgive them, so that your Father in heaven may forgive you your sins. And something else that I wanted to mention and throw in here is, like, in the Unification Church, we do this thing called the Family Pledge. And when we're doing a Honduke, and it was basically like reading the explanation for the different pledges. And I think it was the explanation for pledge, I don't know, I can't remember, 5 or 6, I can't remember. But something that True Father says is, like, when you are like, if you're having a conflict in your family, you can't say, do not like say the family pledge, because the family pledge is so important, because it's a prayer, right? So remember that, like, it's so important for you to forgive people, for you to be in good terms, for you to be doing these things. I think that's the point here. Like, even when you're praying, forgive people. It is difficult. No one is saying that it's easy. I'm not saying that it's gonna be the easiest thing to do. Until now, let me say I have forgiven them, and as I have forgiven, you can say it as many times as you want, but have you truly forgiven them in your heart? That's what we need to think about. So anyway, that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please share it with anyone that you feel that this would help, and then comment down below what you think came through for you the most. Comment down below any of your other tips for prayer. I guess this was just like, I was trying to be very general about it, but also try to like help somebody who's truly looking for a way to pray. Yeah, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I will see you next time. Bye.